Hello everyone, welcome to my new episode. Today I'm going to cover some economics. So economics is one of the greatest topics ever. As you can see on the screen, we'll start with some UK government expenditure. This is from the UK public spending website, as you can see on the bottom of this figure. So this figure I found it in an economics textbook, and I think it's interesting to see. So if we look at these spikes, so first you observe two things in this figure. First, there are two spikes, and then there is a obvious growth trend of the UK public expenditure. So as you might know, this comes to support the joke that doesn't matter the color of the governmental party, the result is the same, right? The state grows. So here the state, as represented by the government expenditure, is obviously growing in the last century. So we can name the last century the century of the state growth, right? Or the welfare state growth. So back to the other observation. So two spikes, yeah? The two world wars. We can see here the First World War, where the state expenditure went almost to half of the revenues, right? And then the Second World War, which goes almost to 2/3 of the revenue of the state, of the UK state. And then on the peacetime, the government expenditure had a maximum in 74 or so, 75, and then again and in the 75 is almost at the same level as the First World War, and then again in 2008, where the figure stops, almost the same level as these two spikes. And one last thing before we move on. So starting 75, we see a downward trend which stops around late 90s. And here I think these ups and downs are the colors of the government changes, right? When it's going down is a conservative, when it's going up is a socialist. Alright, let's move on. The next thing we should mention is the UK total managed expenditure as a percentage of GDP between 2000 and 2010. So similar stuff, right? We can see 2 more years compared to the last graphic, where we see since 2008 again it grew. Next, the total tax revenue as a percentage of GDP. So how heavy are you taxed? How much of the GDP represents the taxation? So as you can see, we have two groups of countries. Let's say Japan and United States with low taxation, and Italy and France with heavy taxation, and some countries in between like Germany, UK and Canada. Okay, next table, sources of UK government revenue 2008-2009. So I will just look at the percentage. So 28% of the government revenue comes from the personal income tax. So you work your ass off and the state takes almost 1/3 of it, right? Because you need to be a good citizen. Not. Then 17% the national insurance. So you want to have a pension, pay 17% more. Then 15% comes from the value-added tax. Everything you buy, around 20%. I don't know how much is the VAT in the UK. Here in Eastern Europe is around 24. So in the UK 14% of the government revenue is the VAT. Then company taxes, which is quite low in my opinion. So only 12% of the UK government revenue comes from corporate taxes. Other indirect taxes 9%, council tax 4%, capital tax 3%, other tax 9%. So as you see here, it's very interesting. So other tax 2 times. So this is 20%. So almost the highest, second highest actually, is the other tax. So no one knows other tax. This is the government, ladies and gentlemen. Other tax, 20%. Disgusting. Okay. UK income tax bands. So 10, 20, 40, 50. What you make until 2000, 10%, until 37,000, 20%, until 150,000, 40%, and over 150, 50%. Okay, then the national insurance contribution. What you make until 97 pounds a week, 0. Then between 97 and 844, 11%, and over 844, 1% more. For a pension, ladies and gentlemen. Then the UK government spending. So on what does the government spend the money? Social security, 28%, the highest percentage. So pension, 18% health of the population, 38% education, 6% defense, 5% the police, and actually defense. This who the fuck is the UK government defending from? There is no war, yeah? No one attacked, as far as we know, anyone. No one attacked UK in 2010. Is it clear? 6% should be cut from this. Then public order, yeah? Police 5%. No one wants this. Should be cut, okay? Transport 3%. And other, again the famous other, 27%, the second highest. UK government spending as a percentage of GDP, historical. So social security grew in the last 50 years, it doubled. Health doubled. Education less than doubled. Defense, thanks goodness, it went less than half. Yes, and it should go to 0. Public order from in the last 30 years less than doubled. Transport same. And total managed expenditure as a percentage of GDP. Changes in total managed expenditure between 1998 and 2010. It shows how government spending is closely linked to the performance of the economy. There are a series of peaks corresponding to periods of recession in the economy. Okay, so the 1987 recession and the 1998 recession. Surprisingly, there is nothing in 2008, which says that the 2008 crisis is the exception to the rule that is written here. And finally, UK public debt as a percentage of GDP, which we see since the 90s. It skyrocketed from 35, now almost double to 65, with lowest in beginning of the 2000s.